Little sheriff's model. That's what it's called. That's what it says right on the barrel. So back in the 1880s, maybe even the 1900s, every sheriff carried one of these. You think? No, but some apparently did, perhaps, because there were some of these sold in each generation of Colt single actions. Just make me a sheriff? You think I can get anything with it? How about smoke a pot with 4440? All right, another 2 liter. Wounded him again. Whoa. I know what I'm doing. This is not just a Hollywood creation, the sheriff's model. Now the other thing, you all chime in, y'all that know more about it and everything. Typically, if you are the sheriff of a county, for example, it depends on what period of time, but you're not out fighting bad guys every day as much. You got a lot to do. You're the administrator. You're the manager of the sheriff's department. You might have a lot of deputies, or you might have 1 or 2 or whatever. And they're doing a lot of the work. Of course, if it's arresting people, serving warrants and that kind of thing. If it's a really small county or something, maybe you're doing a lot of it too. But sheriffs are kind of known for, they're not expecting to be in a shootout today. They might carry a cooler pistol, what I'm trying to say. They may not, but you've heard the phrase barbecue gun. It's typical. See the sheriff, depending on what state you're in. He's at some fundraiser or barbecue, and he's got a pearl-handled 1911 he's wearing or something, or he's got something with a shorter barrel like this. He just needs to have a firearm, but not necessarily the most tactical firearm, even back in the day. Okay, so as I read back in the 1880s, Colt started getting requests for shorter barrels because they'd already gone into like 5.5 and down to the 4 3/4 and everything, and they were getting requests for even a shorter barrel from generally outlaws or law enforcement, for sheriffs, literally from sheriffs might want just a shorter barrel, or someone just wants more of a hideout gun. Okay, and so they made some in the 80s. And then all the way up through to 1940, that whole first generation of these guns, that whole first generation, the standard lengths were the 7.5. How's that for a contrast? 7.5 barrel. That was the first ones, right? We've gone over this a lot of times in our videos. And then the 5.5 and the I guess the mid to late 1770s, and then the 4 3/4. So those were all popular in the standard lengths. Okay, and then they would make one with a longer barrel. I think they took $1 an inch that you added or some kind of thing like that. But they were getting requests sometimes for shorter barrels, and I think it was 1882 along in there. They brought out some that had like 2.5-inch barrels. And then they extended that to 3s and I think even 4s and everything without the ejector rod housing. Something a little more convenient, okay, concealable. And I read that out of the 357,000+ Colt single actions that were made in the first generation, 1873 to 1940, basically, 1,400 of them were in these configurations. 1,400. So they actually existed in the first generations, starting in the 1880s, I guess. That's not to say somebody didn't take their 7.5 inches Colt in 1873 and hack it off, But so that's a kind of a real thing. And again, like I said, on law enforcement, you don't need a big long barrel necessarily if you're not the one out arresting people every day. And then again, when they started making them again in 1956. In 1960, I believe it is, they came out with, second generation, that would have been, with about 500 or so of them. And they were, what were they? They were chambered in 45 Colt, I think, all those were. I don't know, maybe not all of them, but 45 Colt. And about 500 of them. And they had a SM after the serial number for sheriff's model. Does that make sense? And so those are highly collectible, as I understand. Okay, second gen guns are collectible, and so there weren't that many of the sheriff's models. And then in 1980, 82, they made some 80. They started making some more, and that's where this one falls in. 1981 is the vintage on this, and they were, I think, all of them, or almost all of them, were 44 40, 44 special. That's where this baby comes from. Okay, 1980s, and pretty nice. And these things can be pricey, especially those second generation ones. All right, so now we're changing calibers on you. Wow. Now let's just shoot some. Oh, yeah, Prince a little high. Let's try to hit the cowboy. We got him. We got him. All right. Now you're thinking, well, that is a useless piece of junk. You got to have a stick to get the cases out. Well, you know, in most gunfights, who was it, Tom Gibbons? So I always attribute it to him. Said that you're going to run out of time before you run out of ammo, for the most part. And again, if this is just kind of the same reason a person would carry a pocket gun, strictly, well, most handguns anybody carries are for defense, but it's to save your life, get you out of there, get off me gun. And you're not going to need a lot of rounds, generally speaking, even the sheriff, right? So it's not as crazy as it seems. You're being short, not having an ejector rod to reload like lightning, right? As long as you got a stick, a pen, something in your pocket, you can get them out. Sometimes they'll just fall out. Maybe you could blow them out, whatever. So that's the thing. Not totally useless at all, and very handy, very handy.